a letter addressed to the first deputy vice Chairman Bute, which seems to suggest that at the national executive meeting, he said that former President Akufo-Addo reached out to him and expressed some misgivings about the date for the National Delegates Conference, which was refuted in no uncertain terms by the former president. Is that letter, first of all, true? And what has the party done so far? If indeed the accusation that Chairman Bute is the one who made that statement.
Thank you very much. Let me say good morning to you. Let me deal with it in its broader perspective. Okay, so last month, on the 18th of June, Council met and Council approved the date for National Delegates Conference to be held on the 18th and 19th of this month.
Okay.
So subsequently, official invitation were presented or were sent to some of these distinguished personalities. Before even the date was announced, preliminary preparatory works had already been conducted because for such huge gathering of the party, I recall that National Council some time ago took a decision to have these big events, especially conference, sometime before 2020, before 2017. We used to rotate these conferences, either in the northern region. We've had some in the northern region before, Bono region, and then all of that. But because of logistical constraints, because of the huge numbers, the delegates' size was growing. So what we decided to do is to rotate it or shuffle it between Kumasi and then Greater Accra because of logistical constraints. So what usually we do is that we do a lot of background work before we even present dates for council to approve. In this case, we had done a lot of work in terms of accommodation because you are accommodating 5,500 people.
Wow.
Yes. You need a venue to accommodate such persons. So we had already done these background work, and then we submitted the report to council, and council approved the date to be 18th and 19th. For example, we got Anakazo to host more than even half of our delegates. And for Anakazo, they have a lot of events. They showed us their calendar, and it was only possible for us to have it this time around to host such huge numbers. Secondly, UPSA, they only have one cohort on campus. They have only first years. So we made official application to them that we need some spaces for accommodation. Next month in August, you have all the cohorts on campus, and it was going to be very difficult for us to get it. So these are some of the background or preliminary preparatory works we do. So what we did was that at the time council approved the 18th and 19th, we wrote letters to these distinguished, these respected, revered former presidents. So it was President Kufuor who wrote back saying that he is traveling outside. However, his desire would be to be part of us. But however, if he can postpone it to a later date, he will be grateful. Quickly, because of the respect we have for former President Kufuor, we convened an emergency council meeting out of respect, because we could have quickly written back to him saying that it was difficult for us to consider that request. But I said, no, council must meet and consider this particular request. So at council, we received various reports, including the report from the planning committee, the planning committee chairman, former first deputy speaker, Honorable Joe Seusu, gave out all the detailed arrangement that we have made so far. So even former, and then also, don't forget that now we have, unfortunately, a Kwaku by-election coming up.
That's true.
The Electoral Commission hopefully will announce that date to be either in August or in September.
Okay.
So pushing this important event would cause us a lot as a party. So what we did was that we selected 3 eminent persons to engage our respected former leader on the outcome of council. So what we are doing is that we are even putting up a virtual system whereby he will be able to deliver. Again, we are also taking his message, which will be captured in the brochure.
Okay.
In fact, for His Excellency, the former president, immediate former president, Akufo-Addo, His Excellency wrote back to us, informing us that he will not be around because he has a scheduled an important travel outside.
That's right.
At no point did he petition or wrote back to us or requested from us for a change of date.
Okay.
Because I think it was erroneously put out there that he is trying to change the date of conference. Also, it was most unfortunate.
Okay.
And in fact, it traveled so far to the extent where he himself had to write a letter saying that no, he's not said anything of that sort. So that is where we are. So please, it is not factual that His Excellency the former president tried to change the date of conference. For what you mentioned, yes, indeed, Chairman Boakye mentioned something of that sort, but I'm not sure of what you are saying. I think that I need to look into it again. I think you mentioned something about Chairman Boakye having said that President Akufo-Addo has also requested something of that sort, if I'm not mistaken.
No. It was a letter addressed to Chairman Boakye, essentially calling him out for statements that he made or a claim that he made at the council meeting, where he said that the former President Akufo-Addo had reached out to him to discuss the potential of changing.
Unfortunately, I've not cited that.
All right.
I may not be able to speak to that particular letter.
No problems.
Yeah.
So how far? I mean, you talk about a very elaborate preparatory work going into the organizing of the delegates conference. But really, the delegates conference is a meeting of the party to discuss the party's future. You've seen the need as a council to ask all members to respect the fact that this is not the season for campaigning. So all who are interested in national positions or flag bearer positions, this is not the time for it. What would you say are the core pillars of what this delegates conference will be about?
Thank you very much. Let me first of all take you to our Constitution, Article 10. Yes, indeed, is a gathering of party members, but Article 10 also clearly states who is supposed to be part of this conference. And okay, so Article 10(2), and with your permission, I read.
Yes.
There shall be a national annual delegates conference, which shall be the supreme governing body of the party. The annual delegates conference shall meet once every year, at least 4 weeks after the last of the regional annual delegates conference. These are the members. All members of the National Council, all members of the National Executive Committee, all members of the Regional Executive Committee, all members of the Constituency Executive Committee, 15 members of the National Council of Elders, 12 delegates from every external branch, 1 TESCON representative from each recognized tertiary institution in the country, 15 patrons elected from among themselves, founding members across the country who are signatories to the registration document of the party at the Electoral Commission, all party members of Parliament. And then when we are in power, we have all party members who are ministers, deputy ministers, metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives. So, yes, it is a gathering of the party, but then the Constitution specifies, stipulates, clearly outlines who is supposed to be part.
Okay.
And we are going to strictly adhere to it. So please, on this note, let me say that if you are not part of this categorization, And if you have not been invited, or if you are not part of a committee, if you don't have any special duty to perform, please do not come to the venue grounds. In fact, it's going to be aired live on TV, so you can be part of it. This is a delegates conference. In fact, the activities are divided into two. We would first of all take, constitutionally, we need to take a report from the General Secretary, a report from the Treasurer, a report from National Chairman, and then we will take some messages from some dignitaries, and then we zoom into the next part. Do not forget that after the Professor Michael Quay Committee, what happened was that we set up the Frank Davis Committee to look into some of the proposals that would trigger a constitutional amendment, or that would call for a constitutional amendment. And that is exactly what the Frank Davis Committee did. So again, if I take you to Article 19 of our Constitution, which also talks about amendment, it says that every amendment of this Constitution shall be made at National Delegates Conference. That is the supreme body. Okay. That is the only body that can effect any change whatsoever in the Constitution.
So there's all the talk about reforms can only materialize if it's tabled at the Delegates Conference.
At the Delegates Conference.
Right.
So that is what so the General Secretary sent out notices to receive proposals for amendments.
For amendments, okay.
That proposals were forwarded or sent to the Frank Davis Committee.
Okay.
They worked on it. They did a lot of extensive consultation. And then after receiving all of these proposals, the General Secretary under Article 19 is mandated to circulate the proposed amendment to every regional and constituency office. And the General Secretary has also done that. Now, what is left will be the third part, which is the C part. The C part is that at least 2/3 of the delegates of the annual delegates conference should say that, yes, we support the amendment, we do not support the amendment. Either you affirm or you disapprove of the amendment. And that is what is going to happen on Saturday. So we have defined party people to be part of this conference. The mandate is quite clear. Article 19, for me, it's the most, although we will take reports from the General Secretary, Treasurer, National Chairman, what we are going to do is to seek to amend our Constitution. And that is what we are going to do on Saturday. That is why it is important that those who are part of the body to effect any changes in the Constitution are the only persons mandated to be at the venue grounds.
Fantastic stuff. And if you just joined us, it's 8:40. We're talking to Henry Nana Boakye, known popularly as Nana B. He's the national organizer of the new Patriotic Party. And we're spotlighting the journey or the build-up to the Saturday's big national delegates conference. And by the constitution of the New Patriotic Party, that is the highest decision-making body. So the growing course of reforms within the party will all be discussed and tabled at that forum. Now, the framework for implementation of these reforms that have been proposed, if adopted by the delegates conference, has there been a discussion around the timelines for their implementation?
No.
Okay.
The reason is that when it is approved or disapproved, then council would have to reconvene.
Right.
So once some may be approved, others may not, all may be approved, or can also be rejected. All the scenarios can work in this case. So whatever conference will decide, now National Steering Committee, National Executive Committee, and National Council will have to meet to set out the modalities in line with what Council decided.
Right.
It cannot be outside what Council decided. That is why, let me correct this erroneous impression. There have been some erroneous impression that the date for the presidential primaries would also be part of the discussion for this conference. It is not.
Okay.
It's not part of it at all.
Okay.
this is because, again, let me take you to Article 13.
Mm-hmm.
Article 13 of the Constitution is quite clear. Article 13 says, election of the presidential candidate.
Okay.
1. The election of the party's presidential candidate shall be held not later than 24 months from the date of the national elections. The date and venue of the election shall be decided by the National Council, provided, however, the National Council may, on appropriate occasion, vary the date.
Okay.
So that mandate is already given to Council.
Okay.
So Council fixed the date at the last meeting. No, not the last meeting, the 18th June meeting.
Yeah.
Fixed the date for 31st. And it came from the Frank Davis Committee.
Okay.
Because the Frank Davis Committee recommended that as for that power, Council already has it.
So it can continue to do its job.
So set the date now, because they received overwhelming proposal from people that, look, there's so many rancor, so many tensions, so many turbulence in the party. It looks like the party, everybody has his own direction. So the proposals they received, a lot of them were pointing to the fact that elect your flag bearer early. And all of these matters, you nip them in the bud. So as part of their recommendation, on the back of the many numerous proposals they received for an early presidential primaries, they recommended to Council that Council, as for this power, you have it already. We don't have to go to Council. There are some of the recommendations we need to package and put before Council. But for this, you have it already. And that power is already stated under Article 13. So Article 13 gives Council that power. So that date duly set for 31st is not meant to be debated on. It is not going to be part of the issues you are going to discuss in a conference. So that erroneous impression must be corrected. It's not going to be part of Council's view.
Okay.
That's
settled.
Because of conference, it's settled.
But see, in that settlement, a number of issues emerged. It's being described as this top-down approach.
That was the second part. No, not at all.
Okay.
Again, we never discussed, we never took any decision. Nothing of that sort came up at that council meeting that elect flag bearer first, then you do your national elections, then you do your region, then you come to constituency, you come to electoral area before you go to police. Nothing of that sort.
Okay.
All that the committee recommended, that Article 13 is a standalone elections.
Okay.
Because again, when I take you back to Article 5, Article 5 talks about the structure of the party. Article 5 says, and again, with your permission, I will read. Article 5 talks about the structure and organization of the party. Then it says, the party is a national party and shall accordingly be structured and operated on that basis. 2, the party shall be based on polling station, electoral area, constituency, external, regional, and national organization. It never ended at presidential elections. So the structure of the party, the framers of the constitution, in putting together a provision that will define the structure and organization of the party, left out the presidential primaries. Because when you elect somebody to be a polling station executive, he stays there for 4 years. Constituency for 4 years. All these positions 4 years. But for presidential primaries, when we have an election and you win, you become the president. If you lose, you are no longer the presidential candidate. That is why it's a standalone elections. So council took that decision. So there's nothing like top-down approach.
Okay.
There's absolutely nothing like top-down.
Has there in the history of the NPP in recent times where you've had a situation where you went to Congress before, you did flag bearer elections before Congress?
Historically, I'm told that 98, 99 elections, yes, President Kufuor's time, he was elected very late during the 1996
That's right.
primaries. So immediately we lost part of the reforms and part of the consideration to make sure that we put our best foot forward for the 2020 election was to hold the presidential primaries quite early. And that is how come right after 96, we had the conference somewhere in 98 towards the year 2000 election. So yes, there have been precedents. And again, I say this, for me, where we are now, I think that every condition will require a specific solution.
Okay.
I have been national youth organizer. I am now the national organizer. My brother, for the last electionary cycle, from 2022 when we started our polling station elections, up to 2024 when we went into the general elections, we spent 3 years on internal elections.
3 years?
3 years on internal elections.
That's a lot of time and resource.
So 2022, 2023, and even 2024, which was the election year, we were still going to the polls to elect our parliamentary candidates. How can a party survive? And every election comes with its own associated infighting, chaos, and all of that. So by the time you finish the polling station elections, now we have over 42,000 polling stations. If you are not careful, especially with what we have now, just look at what happened in Ablekuma. Immediately the party decided that, we are not going to be part of these elections. And the candidate also announced that I'm going to be part. Then all the presidential hopefuls, all of them went there, all of them donating. That is only Ablekuma. Imagine what will happen if we say that today we are going to start our elections from the 42,000 polling stations. It means we'll be creating 42,000 problems. We will leave the problems there. And by the time you think that you want to solve the polling station election problems, then you go to electoral area, close to about 10,000 or so electoral area. So all of these electoral areas too, you create problems there. All these constituencies, 276, you create problems there.
Okay.
We spent 3 years on internal elections.
Wow. I mean, fast forward to where we find ourselves right now. Is the MPP living with a broken front?
I would not say so, but I think that we need to go into this presidential primaries because look, in this constitution, this political party is formed to win political power. In fact, that is the core mandate of every political party. And this is stipulated, it's being captured in this constitution, that our mandate as a political party is to win political power. So the moment that becomes the mandate, then who are you going to ride on to win political power? Is the presidential candidate. So that becomes always the tussle. For me, we cannot afford. Now, if you look at the mess the NDC is causing, but there is so much fatigue in the party to criticize the party in power.
Why?
Because of internal elections, because of internal jostling.
But wouldn't you say that's a divided front? Because
No,
if you didn't have a divided front, you would be. Let me take you back to the years preceding 2016. For a very clear clarion call, and the chorus was calling the president at that time incompetent. It was the party's communication was united behind one call. Why is it different this time if you still have unity?
If you ask me, I'll tell you, at that time, Nana was elected somewhere 2014. And even before then, majority of the party knew in our minds that it's Nanado we want. Yes, we went to 2008, we lost. 2012, we lost. After 2012, we went to the court. Majority of the party, overwhelmingly, close to about 90% of the party base, they were so resolute in our minds that it's Nanado we want. 2014, we had our flag bearer. So you could see that, yes, there's leadership. You rally around the leader. The leader also rallies the people around him, and then you win political power. Where we are now, look, every problem or every issue related to disunity and what you described as maybe not a united front, it is because of the presidential primaries. Look, every element of indiscipline, about 90% of it is linked to presidential primaries.
Okay.
In fact, all the petitions we've received, or which borders on indiscipline, is linked to presidential primaries. All the talks, the unfortunate outburst we hear on radio from the new Patriotic Party is because of that. Look, I recall when we, as a party, we've had a mass mobilization activity before. There's the CJ demonstration. Mm-hmm. There were people who called me to tell me that event was going to be a flop because, look, people, we are not energized, everybody is divided. And at the end of the day, we pulled such numbers. So imagine if a person with such mindset, and now for me, we have a leader who is the presidential candidate. Everybody will see that person as a potential president. The moment you have a presidential candidate, that is what it means. That this person is a potential president. So any of these distinguished personalities who wish to aspire to be presidential candidate, let's go into the field, get that person quickly, then we rally the party around where we are now. That is what we need. It will be for want of a better expression, for the person who is elected on 31st of January, it means in an unprecedented fashion, that person will have close to about 3 years. 3 years.
Which is in consonance with your Article 13, isn't it?
13. Yeah. And then happy. Because you see, the last time we had an election, look, we elected our presidential candidate somewhere close to December 2023. And by the time we entered in 2024, still solving problems, getting a united front, it was difficult for us. So for me, this decision by National Council, for me, is the best. There was nothing like top-down approach that do presidential, do national, do regional, do constituency, electoral area, and then do polling station. Nothing of that sort happened. That is why I've taken my time to take you through the Constitution. Yeah. Article 5, organization and structure of the party, is quite different from Article 13, which talks about the election of the presidential candidate.
Now, the party clearly has decided that this is the surest way to rally the entire party together by electing a flag bearer first. So now you have your arrowhead in place and then you rally everybody behind this person. But the road to that itself has been a bit turbulent. Even though, some people have overtly told the world of their intent to run. Others are sitting in the shadows waiting. But it's clear that it will be a heavily contested affair. And there's also the thought that the party is positioned to, for the lack of a better expression, foist the previous flag bearer on the party. How do you see that call? Is it true? And if not, how fair is the playing field for the rest who are wanting to put their names in the hat?
First of all, I think that it's an unfair comment. Why would the national executives try to impose, as it were, the former presidential candidate on the party? Why? On what basis? I do not think so. Look, we've had similar accusations when Nana Kwaku was a presidential candidate from the party, and the party want to impose Nana on them. No. This is an election where, in fact, even by this expansion that the amendment committee is proposing, which will be put before conference, it means that from the over 200,000 delegates now, it will increase to close to about 400,000. How can you say that you are going to control the minds? You are going to impose one person on close to about 400,000 delegates. And that will be by far the biggest delegate ever to elect a flag bearer. So for me, it's one of those things. It's happened before. So I am not too bothered. What is important is the second part of your question. that as national executives, we must be seen to be fair. The rules must apply to all. Make sure that you construct a fair playing field for everybody, so that if this person wins, he can rally everybody behind him. If that person loses, he will have that heart to be part of the campaign. And that is where my focus is. So as for the accusations, as I've said, it's not new. And I know it will keep coming. And I've cited another Kwaku principle. Right from the time he lost up to the time he became president, these accusations were thrown around all the time. But what is important is that to put in place a fair playing field for all the supposed or prospective aspirants.
Okay.
For me, that will be our biggest challenge, and that is where we must make sure that we execute that mandate with diligence and excellence.
Okay.
Indeed, Henry, the accusations would continuously come. But there's also the issue of social listening, and the NPP has been accused of zero social listening. People have cited your colossal defeats, and recently the ex-president Kufuor said that he's been excluded from internal party affairs. Inshira just made a point that many have also raised questions with the fact that the early presidential primaries gives an advantage to one candidate beyond the others. Is the NPP really listening to the concerns people are sharing, especially with the infighting that is ongoing and all that is happening? Are you listening?
Yes. Okay, let me start from this. First of all, former President Kufuor in this constitution, his position has been stated clearly in there. Look, we respect him, we love him, we adore him. Recently, you recall that he championed the establishment, and he even opened it because it was something that he was saying all the time. The Patriotic Institute. He was at the party office to establish that for us. Now, for me, the video I saw is not a true reflection of what he wanted to put out there. It was cut, put out there to achieve a certain purpose. Because you see, the former president, he's been part of our, in fact, at council, General Secretary indicated to council, because council too was worried that this was put out there. There are two personal aides who are in charge of all of this invitation, Arba Bosompem and then Edward Champon. And all the time we've sent all of these important invitations, they have acknowledged them. In fact, one of such invitations is when our respected former president wrote back to us stating that, oh yes, he's received the invitation. However, he will be outside the country. He would have wished to be here with us if it can be rescheduled to a later date. That is an example of one of those correspondents. So I saw that video and I said, who are the people behind this? For me, what he was trying to say was that, and from the day council met, council elected 3 eminent persons. For this our discussion, I will not disclose their names, to engage former President Kufuor. And I said, oh no, what is being out there is been doctored. Yes, because
was he invited?
It wasn't him.
But was he invited to the June 18 meeting?
Which meeting?
Was President Kufuor invited to the June 18 meeting?
Yes.
He was?
Every meeting.
He's invited to every meeting?
Yes, and I have correspondence here that shows either through our sister Arba Bosompem or Edward Champon.
Okay.
All the meetings.
Okay.
And in fact, there have been times where you recall that even our campaign, the very first time former Vice President delivered his maiden speech.
This was at the UPSA?
He was there.
Right.
Yeah. There have been times where if he's unable to come, he will even do a recording and then we'll play it. Every conference we've had his message captured in the brochure.
All right.
All the time. For me, the import of what he was saying was that, look, he narrated his historical contribution to the party. And he ended by saying that, yes, he may be weaker now, but he's still active. So we should not push him when he can be active. So if an impression is created as though, oh, as for now, I've been sidelined.
You said that video. You said it's been doctored. I want clarification on that. What exactly has been doctored?
No, what I'm saying is that it is almost about an hour or so conversation, and just a few minutes have been put out there to suggest as though it's a recent thing that, we don't invite him, we don't engage him. Look, the Frank Davis committee engaged him twice. The first time it was only lawyer Frank Davis who went there. He sat with our respected leader for 3 hours. Then subsequently he went with all the team. They again engaged him for close to about 3 hours. The Professor Michael Quay committee engaged him extensively on these matters on when they were doing their work. So please, I don't know who is behind a particular.
So essentially, if I'm to understand clearly what you're saying, that the video that went out was deliberately put out so that the broader context, as you put it, is missing on us.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's get into other conversations. Now, there's call that let's expand the Electoral College. Is this something that's being considered?
Yes. It's part of the amendment we're going to have.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That is why I was saying that at the polling station election is going to be, the proposal is to increase it by 40%.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have only 5 polling station executives. The proposal is that let's add. In fact, the recommendation from the committee was the 1 man, 1 vote.
Okay.
But however, this is how they put it. And let me, for our purposes of this discussion, read it. Okay, he says that it starts from here. The delegate system. There were a lot of proposals asking the party to allow every card-bearing member of the party to vote in all internal elections on the basis of 1 member, 1 vote. The amendment committee holds the view that this proposal is not feasible as of now. However, the party should immediately initiate processes of putting in place the necessary administrative structures and the foundational framework, including the effective rollout of a biometric membership database system that will pave way for the full implementation of 1 member, 1 vote by the end of 2028. The roadmap of the realization of 1 member, 1 vote should begin with the National Council setting up the 1 member, 1 vote implementation committee to work on the modalities for the rollout of 1 member, 1 vote, including budgetary considerations. The committee is in the meantime recommends a limited expansion of the delegate system. For that matter, the Electoral College for all internal elections at the various levels. So you recall that when we lost, there was this overwhelming clarion call from every party member, every card member. Yes, I also believe in that, but it must be done strategically and progressively.
Okay. I mean, with that...
That is what they have recommended.
Okay. Now, is this something that was reflected in the Michael Quay report as well?
Yes. The Michael Quay, yes.
Okay. Talking about the Michael Quay report, we know that there was only, at least we've been told, there was only 1 copy ever made. Were the content of that report shared with former President Akufo-Addo?
The content? Oh, yes. In fact, the day Professor Michael Quay came to council and gave us the brief at council, His Excellency the former president was there. As to whether the copy, the full copy, has been given to His Excellency the former president, I cannot confirm.
How then would he be able to, as a former leader of the party and an elder, make very strong and sound contribution if he doesn't have a copy to refer to?
That is why I'm saying that, first of all, I cannot speak to it because I cannot confirm whether he has a copy or he has not. But the day Professor Michael Quay and the committee delivered the report to council, before then, Professor Michael Quay gave a summary of all of that. And this particular thing featured.
Featured in that.
Featured in that. I mentioned it. So, as to whether our respected former leader has been given a copy or not, I cannot confirm that.
So it's safe to say that the recommendations from the Michael Quay report are being implemented?
From some of the proposals and some of the issues which will be put before
the conference will be.
Yes,
it's from there.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's talk about Ablekuma North. And I'm going to start. I'll preface this question with a comment from Jomo in Pokwasi Festus. He says, why do we either glorify and remain mute over electoral violence when in power, yet complain only when in opposition? Why do we see everything evil about Galamsey when power eludes us, yet try every means to defend acts of illegality in relation to Galamsey when in power? Why are we quick to identify ways of making Ghana a better place, yet do close to nothing when we are at the helm of affairs? We speak against levies, yet introduce more when in power. I'm pretty sure the citizenry would have enough of the aforementioned very soon. This is the reality of the Ghanaian citizen, whether it's an NDC-run administration or an MPP-run administration. We saw violence in Ayawaso West Wugon, where people were bold enough in the presence of police services, had balaclavas on, and were meting out violence against people. And then we saw what happened in Ablekuma North. As a leader of a political party, or a person in leadership of one of our largest political parties, when are you, and by that the political class, going to put an end to this?
For me, I think that when we were in power and Ayawaso happened, before Ayawaso, if you recall that we have had several elections-related violence, especially with by-elections. The Talensi will come to mind, Etiwa will come to mind, Shreponi will come to mind, and all of that. And even Akotia. We've been there before. I think it was just 6 polling stations or so.
Yeah.
And it created a whole lot of mess for us. That is why I'm expecting that at least the bold steps that His Excellency, the former president, took, it was his party, it was his people, his security guys. Yet he said that, look, let us disband all of these things. Let me put together anti-vigilantism law, which would put to rest all of these problems that we have. This is leadership. No, in fact, he set up a commission to look into it. Now, what has President Mahama done? So sometimes, you see, we need to call a spade a spade. In fact, I have not even heard from our president since Ablekuma.
Okay.
I've not heard from him. And it's so disappointing. It is so disappointing. The former president made giant steps towards it. It has happened again under your watch. And the most unfortunate thing is that you have people in responsible positions, a minister of state, and I'm so disgusted and disappointed by my brother Sam George's comment, trying to glorify it, trying to even justify that it should happen. Look, he created an image of a pre-designed attack. It looks like they had already planned it. And this is most unfortunate. And it looks like, President Mahama, you are quiet about this.
Well, while you will call out President Mahama, I will call out the NDC and the NPP. And
the reason why I'm saying so.
No. 1 second, okay, please. I think that granted that the former president did put in place a commission of inquiry, I think it was window dressing.
No, it was not.
Why would you not call it a window dressing?
The point where
who was sanctioned? Which minister? And by that, Brian Champon was mentioned. Was he hauled before the commission? What did he answer questions? Who were those people who were known by the hierarchy of the NPP, who were wearing the balaclavas, who were visiting violence on people? How many people were jailed? A commission of inquiry is simply to say, let's sit down, discuss it, have tea, and go home.
I think that you are wrong. Look, the commander, was it
Azungu
or something?
Yes.
I mean, he was removed.
Azungu, the commander.
Yes.
The guy who was in uniform, mandated by our constitution, but was outnumbered and emasculated in his job.
He suffered some
How about the hoodlums? How about the thugs who were beating people up and down? What happened to those people?
No, he suffered. But there was a particular instance where, for me, that is a bold step for me. You may disagree. That is fine. But I feel that was a bold step.
A step too short.
How about President who has not even commented about it?
Well,
Look, if President Mahama had just gone along the same line or even advance what even President Akufo-Addo did, we would not be where we are now.
Everyone has their day of reckoning.
That is what I'm saying. The most important thing is for you acknowledging the problem. It is not as if the former president folded his arms. You may be expecting something far from him. Well, I mean, that is fine. That is your own view.
You see, for me, at the moment,
I'm coming. For me, my position is that the president did not keep quiet. Even if you disagree with the outcome of the commission or how the recommendation from the commission was treated, I don't have a problem.
Okay, so if we were to do a scorecard,
issue is that the president did look. Even identifying the problem alone is even half the solution.
Well, so that's a step. On that score, and I will back you on that. On that score, President Mahama has not done himself any favors.
That is what I'm trying to say.
Great, but what I'm saying is that you see, precedent is important. When the Ayawaso West Wugon incident happened, and again, it is not just about Ayawaso. We mentioned Tripoli, Talensi, and all of these things. No action was taken, which is why it was okay for us to go and sit down and do committee and take one guy who was I think Azungu was scapegoated. The reason I think he was scapegoated was because there were people who, through the same police and national security apparatus, could have been identified, but are walking free, and yet they caused mayhem on that day. So it creates this, it emboldens other people.
That is what I'm saying.
Your party members are calling. Look, your party members are calling for the same actions to be taken, which were not taken when the Ayawaso West Wugon incident happened. The people's faces are there. Why aren't we arresting them?
Let me ask you this question. You know, after Ayawaso by-election...
Mind you, I'm the one asking the question.
Yes, sorry. Okay, let me pass this comment. After Ayawaso by-elections and the post activities or the post actions from the president, we have had 3 by-elections.
Yeah.
Afterwards, 3 by-elections. We've had Asaase North. We went to Kumasi.
True.
We went to Ejuso. We did not see the level of violence we witnessed in Ayawaso West Wugon.
Or Ablekuma North.
No, I'm saying so because all happened under MPP. I'll come to Ablekuma North.
Okay.
All happened under MPP. Okay. So Ayawaso West Wugon happened under MPP. The president takes these steps, these bold steps. You may have an issue with it, but it was a brilliant and a bold step for me. And afterwards, we had 3 by-elections.
Okay.
And those by-elections, we never had incidents of this thuggery, this beating, causing mayhem, and all of that. We never witnessed that.
Okay.
Under MPP. That should tell you that, yes, indeed, the president took some bold steps. And this anti-vigilantism law happened. Immediately, MPP exits. There's another, not just by-election in principle, but then a rerun.
A limited rerun.
A limited by-election, if you can put it that way. And this thing happens. That is why I'm saying that for me. And you see,
but Ayawaso West Wugon is your Ablekuma North. You know why? Because it was the first. It was an election that happened soon after President Akufo-Addo had taken office. I agree. So is it possible that maybe?
No, I agree. That is why I'm saying that if the steps President Akufo-Addo took, if those steps were advanced by President Mahama. Because when President Mahama came, don't forget that he had written to the IGP to investigate Ayawaso.
And I think something in the Techiman, yeah.
Techiman South.
Yeah.
Right. So how is it that President Mahama, you actually directed the IGP to open
these investigations
matters, and then for Ablekuma North, you have not written? That is the hypocrisy. Just when you took office, you wrote to the IGP to conduct investigations into these activities, unfortunate activities that happened in these 2 areas. But you are refusing to again write or direct the IGP or the Minister of Interior to do so. That is where I have a problem. So at least,
well, I share that problem with you because you see,
he's not condemned the act.
And these are things that are very important signals from leadership. And whether it's an NDC or an MPP or QRST leadership, there are certain things that your posture requires a clear and convicted position that I do not condone violence, and a statement from the president should have been the least. Hopefully, we'll get some action belatedly, but a decisive one. I would like for us to quickly. I know we're fast out of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was
and I'm grateful.
I permission from you, if I can.
No way. Let me just do it's just this one last question. Akwatia is up next. A lot of the calls we've received on this show from people who are sympathetic to the party, some who claim to be polling center agents and officials of the party, have said that we're not going to bow down and cower in Akwatia. And now, you could choose to read very short meanings into it, but I choose the deeper meaning because it's better when you prepare for the worst. How do we ensure that we do not see reprisal or clashes in Akwatia?
President Mahama, his leadership.
How about your party?
No, for our party, we protect ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you mean by protecting yourself?
But we went into Ablekuma. I mean, very cool.
With pepper spray?
When somebody say with pepper spray, I do not get it. People have their licensed weapon with them.
No. So, I'm not. No, let me tell you why. Maybe the context. No, relax. Maybe the context is needs to be put out there. When I say with pepper spray, when you say you protect yourself, and I'm asking how, does that mean? Because Madam Kumsin said on this platform that she always likes to protect herself. Even when she's going to the market, she has something that in the event that somebody attacks her, she's able to protect herself. Is that the kind of we'll protect ourselves you're talking about? Or will you rely on the constitutionally mandated Ghana Police Service to provide security for everyone?
What I can tell you on this show is that Akwatia will be different, and MPP, we are going to take our own security very seriously. We are going to protect ourselves. We are going to campaign. We are going to be very lawful. But do not forget that self-protection is also part of our laws. So we are going to be very careful. We are going to be law-abiding, but we are going to protect ourselves. In fact, in this recommendation,
that's Frank Davis.
There's a portion where Frank Davis recommends, the Frank Davis Committee recommends standing committees. And then they mention the formation of additional standing committees. They mention electoral affairs, the political strategy committee. What is important here, I want to share with you, is security and intelligence committee.
Okay.
Right. So I can simply put it out here that Akwatia
will be different.
We are going to be extremely. We are going to be lawful. We are going to be law abiding. We are going to go about our campaign activities very, very, very calm. But we are going to protect ourselves. We are going to take our own security seriously.
Well. We'll end on that note.
Thank you very much.
And grateful that you've made time to join us in the studio. Henry Nana Boakye, National Organiser of the new Patriotic Party. And we wish you the very best of luck. I know you'll be there in organizing on yes.
I will see us. Thank you very much, my brother.
It's been good talking to you.
Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.